So this is definitely what we not want to be doing as a DB. That's what gets the DB ready to break on the out. That's going to be why he wants you on his team, about the timing between him and the quarterback. This is not what you want to do, especially if he's a fast receiver. And that's a really bad position to be in. Eyes on the receiver, get on your line. What's going on, guys? Got a great one for you skill position players out there. If you're running the routes or covering them, this is a video that you're gonna wanna watch. So we got DB receiver one-on-ones, and we're gonna go over a lot of different coaching points, how to play the position, what to do right and what not to do. So make sure you got your notebooks with you today, so you see, learn from the mistakes and don't do them yourselves. Thanks for coming to another video. If you got a season in a couple weeks from now, or you gotta wait another year, like I do unfortunately, this is a time to get better. If you got lots of time, great. If you don't, get ready for that season, but take your notes, practice what you learn yourselves so you can make the best plays, have your team win more games, and reach your goals. So I'm gonna play each clip once, and then we're gonna talk through it. And remember, playing DBs, all about eyes, feet, and hands. Got a bad ball there. So we got the DB playing inside shade here, a couple yards off, and he starts backpedaling off right away. That's not what you want to do if you're only a couple yards off. You end up in what we call no man's land. You either want to get physical with him or back off so you could get a better read. If he has a free release like this, you're not disrupting the timing at all. And between receivers and quarterbacks, timing's everything. Even if you get one hand on him, get in his way a little bit, that might mess up, one step, but football is a game of inches. So if you throw out the quarterback a bit while there's a D-line rush, linebackers are getting in the windows too, that might be enough to make the play. Another thing here is that the DB turns, he turns his body, doesn't keep his hips square to overplay his shade there. And he's keeping his inside shade, but as you can see, he turns almost completely to work on keeping that shade, so that gives the receiver a free release going vertical. Now what you want to do here is keep your hips square and just take a couple shuffle steps with him, because then even if he comes right into your shade, you can get a hand on, which will slow him down and disrupt the timing. This makes it harder to break on an in route, which the DB is expecting, because now you have to turn your body from here all the way to this position, but if you're square, just from here to this position. So it makes it harder to break on an in route, and it gives them a free outside release. So this is definitely what we not want to be doing as a DB, because it's really a lose-lose. So eyes, feet, yeah, he could have got a hand on, but he got CB got some good catch-up speed, getting him faster. Catched up with the receiver here. Now with the receiver slowing down, like you can see right here, you can turn back a bit earlier, because if he's slowing down, that means the ball's already in the air. So you turn around, make sure you find him. Don't get hands too high, because you'll probably get a flag for that. Find him, look up for the ball, then go to make a play. The ball here is underthrown, and the receiver kind of stops going for it. Now I had some DBs running routes on each other, but if you got a better receiver, he's probably gonna fight for that ball a bit more. The DB here kind of looks stiff in his pedal too. You see his arms, got one of them pumping, the other one not really. So you want to make sure you're in a relaxed position, you're comfortable, and you're playing your game. The way you win one-on-ones is knowing what you're gonna do. So if you're getting inside shade, you're getting off, make sure you already know in your head and you're not just guessing what to do. Mess around with the receivers too. You might start inside shade, then move outside shade, because when you're lined up, the receiver's already putting in his head what he's gonna do, what route he's gonna run on you, how he's gonna stem you. So feel free to mix it up, because it's all about deception out here. So we'll look at rep 2 now. Probably got through a few more in this video. All right, DB's playing against a wideout. He's playing off coverage. So I like how the DB starts here on a nice low pedal. Tempoing the receiver, he's not getting off too fast or too slow. Something you notice here is that his heels are on the ground, which makes it a lot harder to move. Make sure to film your one-on reps too, so you can go over it, or you send it to me, we could go over it together. But if your toe comes up, it makes it a lot harder to move. You wanna keep the balls of your feet on the ground, just like you're running. Here, keep the shade. Now the break here, he's got what we call a bucket step. So if you're breaking out on a 90, you want to get that left foot in the ground and then start driving straight on the line or even a bit under instead of going backwards. So that right foot should be stepping almost downhill towards the receiver. Now, I think the DB here expected the wheel route, so it's okay. But just in case he's running out route, you want to make sure you got your feet right. Nice little hand fake by the receiver. Tip for you receivers out there, if you're doing a fake like this, you might want to turn just a little bit more because it's easy to see as a DB if it's just a head fake or if he's actually turning his shoulders. That's why we expect the wheel. Then he catches it up here and looks back to the good time. Ball is just in a bad spot. If you're expecting the wheel though, shouldn't get beat on that. Good job by the DB though, being there in the position at the end of the play to make a play on the ball, but it was a bad throw. All right, next rep here, we got a little press rep. So a big thing with press is that this is when you really get to disrupt the timing. You try to get a shuffle or two in, moving laterally, so the receiver has to stem his route more than he wants to, and it'll throw off the timing with the quarterback. So in Canadian football, receivers are allowed to dance around a bit like this at the line, making it a bit harder to press. It's a great job by the DB of keeping his leverage there. He does open the gate is what we say when you're in press, and you just flip your hips right away. This is where you want to get that shuffle in, so you get hands on and disrupt the timing. If you just do it with your feet, that's okay. You don't always have to get hands on, but it goes eyes, feet, hands. So you see his hip, you see which way he's going, move with him and keep the receiver in front of you so you can disrupt that timing. So if the DB takes a shuffle right here, shuffle, shuffle, now the receiver has to belly it out even more and they'll throw off the route timing with the quarterback. Does a job of keeping his leverage, doesn't fall for that little fake, stays with him on the post. Now he's playing with the hands a bit here. I think it's okay, but as you know, lots of refs make questionable calls sometimes, so be careful about that. And then if you're right with the receiver, trust yourself and go up for the ball or hit it down. It's not a catch here, but the DB doesn't actually make a play on the ball. You want to either feel it, hit his hands, or go get a pick. And getting from this level to the next level, it's not that big of a difference. It's only one step. That is the difference between being good and being great. If you got a coach watching your tape and he sees a play like this, say, okay, yeah, not bad, he could play for us. But if he sees you pick that ball off and go 100 yards the other way and take it to the crib, get a pick six, that's gonna be why he wants you on your team. That's gonna be why he wants you on his team. That's the difference maker in the game. You want to be a game changer, not just another batted ball, small play. You want to make the big plays. All right, next rep here, little rematch. So the DB looks like he's pretty close to the receiver. In Canada, make sure you give a yard. You want to practice how you're going to play. Although it is fun to get up and press the receiver, make sure that you're doing what is actually going to happen in the game. And DB got his hands pretty low here. If you get your hands up here a bit more, it's easier to get your hands and hit the receiver. But if that's what you're comfortable with, I know some guys like their hands low because then the receiver doesn't know where they're gonna go. You gotta do what you're comfortable with, but just know if they're closer up here at the start, then it's easier to jab and get out there. And when you press, that's how you want it. You want a quick jab and retract. If you keep your hand out there, you're gonna get off balance. Unless he's right in front of you and you can stay with him, just jab and move with him. Get those shuffles in. Okay, so right away, the receiver takes a pretty radical release inside, probably gonna break off that way. So as you can see here, the DB takes one little shuffle, but loses his shade. If you're playing inside shade, keep your eye on the receiver's inside hip and move with it. If he's trying to take your shade here, this is the inside, receiver's over here, keep your eye on that hip and shuffle this way, get this hand on him so it's easy to open up when you have to. So DB should be inside of him right now, but it's not a big deal. Just squeeze him a lot so you're right with him. In case he breaks it in any direction, you're right there to make a play on the ball or play it through his hands. And another tip, if the receiver takes an inside release, he's probably gonna break it inside. And if he takes an outside release, he's probably gonna break it outside. That's why keeping your shade is important. If you're If you're keeping your shade and he's doing an inside release, but you're right there, that's gonna throw off the timing between him and the quarterback. And then if he has to break it back out or try to do another move on you, you mix that with the quarterback who has different reads, 4 receivers, 5 receivers, and then pressure from the D-line and linebackers, plus with you being close to the receiver, it won't work out too often for them. And then the most important part, finish off with your tag. Light one in the back here, but you want to run after the receiver, tag him on his hip to show that you would make the tackle. Finishing is a very important part about football. Practice your games. That's how guys like Ed Reed and Pompamalu, you see them make a bunch of plays. It's because they'd be finishing the reps. If there's a play happening on the other side of the field, you'll see them run after it, and they just always happen to be in that spot to catch a deflection. It's about finishing the play, chasing after him. And you never know when the receiver's gonna get hit, fumble the ball up, or just drop it. You gotta be there to make the plays. All right, we got a route in the slot now. For the Canadians, this is normal. For the Americans, this might be a bit weird for you, but the slot gets the motion up to the line, and then the DB's gotta read that. So the DB here does a great job of matching his pace. The receiver slows down, DB slows down. I would say one thing though, he's got a really good stance. He's nice and low, ready to move. Taking a lot of steps here, that's okay, settles. He falls for the head fake though. See that receiver head fake to the left? That's what gets the DB ready to break on the out. You gotta have your eyes on the hips, not up here. When the receivers are dancing with their shoulders and their head, that'll get you fooled. But if you keep your eyes on his hip, you realize not that much happens. See, one step and then go. So DB opens up with him. He does look back at the quarterback right here. And if he doesn't do that, he's in a good position to run with the receiver. So make sure you drive the receiver. Then when you're in a good position, look back. One more step, don't look back. But he's right there at the end to make a play. He swats the receiver's hands there. You want to try to punch through them because it's a lot faster than coming out here. You're just running and get the hand in there. All right, we'll look at one more clip in this video. I got more clips from this day, so stay tuned for part 2 of the one-on-one breakdowns. But let's take a look at this one. So the receiver doesn't even move inside. The DB starts keeping the step inside when he doesn't have to play that hard. See, he's taking a lot of steps going inside and turning his hips. This gives the receiver a free release. And this is not what you want to do, especially if he's a fast receiver. It turns into a track meet here, and you're giving him the go away to just outrun you there. So you want to shuffle with him. Now imagine if the DB was in front of the receiver here and he gets a hands on, that slows him down a lot. Plus it gives you more time to read his body language and disrupt that timing. All right, he's running with him, good job. You want to squeeze the receiver more here so he doesn't stack you. He comes on top of the DB right here, and that's a really bad position to be in because if you're behind the receiver, he can break it any direction. But if you're right with his hip, if he tries to break through you, you're right there to be physical with him. And if he tries to break away, you're right there to run with him. If you get stacked, it's not a very good thing. You gotta fight to keep that leverage, even downfield. And then this is a questionable route, breaks off and out pretty deep, but DB's just gotta do a better job here of keeping his eyes on the receiver's hip downfield and feeling his gear down. There's lots of drills on my account you can check out for working on stuff like this, making sure your eyes are on the receiver's hip and gearing down. So check out the channel, then practice the drills for yourself too. But this is where the separation comes. Although it is a kind of a strange route, that's a lot of separation. Ball is just in a wrong spot. And even at the end here, the DB has a chance to make a play on the ball. His eyes are in the wrong spot. He's looking back a bit too early. When you do that final break, eyes on the receiver, get on your line. Find where he's going, go that direction, then look back. If you're looking back too early, you're gonna round your break and end up behind the receiver again. Now, if he was on a better angle, he'd come down sharp in front of the receiver, be right there to pick the ball off. So that's it for today's video. We're gonna do part 2 to this for the one-on-one breakdowns. Got you some coaching points, so make sure you take notes. Go back if you have to watch a video again, then go practice this stuff yourself. Check out the rest of the account for workouts you can do to work on these specific things and lots of other things for playing DB or just being a better athlete. If you learned something new in this video, be sure to share with your teammates to get you and your whole DB core, linebackers, receivers, everyone better so you can win more games and reach your goals. So just make sure you're filming your reps, you're getting a lot of reps in, and then feel free to send them in. We can go over them together, get you the right coaching points you need to elevate your game to the next level. Let me know in the comments if you learned anything new, and then stay tuned for part 2 of this video. We're gonna get you more reps, more breakdowns, more things you need to be great. Now, I'm being very critical too of dissecting the plays and making corrections on these players. They did a pretty good job overall, not many caught balls, but this is what you want to do. The difference between being good and making some plays or being great, and that guy who makes all the plays, makes plays when they matter, get your scholarship, championships, being remembered, getting your championship rings, awards, trophies, all that is being honest with yourself and getting your coaching points in. So I'm breaking it up to make sure that these players get everything right. You want to strive for perfection and get as close to that as you can. Keep breaking it down, filming your reps, getting your 10,000 reps in, send it in. Make sure you check out the rest of the channel too for other breakdowns, workouts, everything you need to elevate your game. Be great.